Greetings, I am Lies.
And I am Scandal.
And let's jump out a window together! Woo!
Goodbye, Ben!
Coach. I just love this video, this image, this vision in my head of, that he goes out onto, or if he's like just completely structured. There's plate glass windows, those huge, beautiful ones along the side of school. He just walks through.
I love the idea that he's just
level.
got on football gear halfway and just like, I'm always prepared. There he goes.
There he goes. But just that basically he walks out of it like basically someone walking down a hallway. He approaches the edge of everything and walks through the plate glass as if it's not there, and then just whoosh straight down.
Are you telling me that he's the dog trying to go after the ducks in the algae pond?
Yes, except for he sticks the landing.
He sticks it real well.
He sticks the landing, and he just keeps walking inhumanly forward.
Oh God!
As he doesn't even bend his knees or anything. He just keeps taking another step.
I take out the key to my locker. I unlock it, and suddenly,
someone booby-trapped your locker because they were jealous of you and the boy attention.
Either that or somebody walks behind you and dumps a bucket over your head. That was the other one I was thinking. Hi! A smelly fluid explodes out.
Explodes, not dumps.
Like
this
splashes?
Is an explosion.
Yes. Explodes out of the locker and gets all over me. Everybody in the hallway laughs and points at me because this is the entire world that I live in.
Again, they are a unified mob. Nobody squeaks. Nobody jumps back in surprise. Nobody goes, oh my God.
Or
nobody goes, whoa.
Laughter.
Or it's just quiet. Or it's kind of like, ew. Or just like, what is that god-awful smell? Like any other reactions, they're all a completely unified mass. They are a herd that is a hive mind. The other students is a creature.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're in that horror mode,
yep.
The other student, everybody, there is this entity called everybody, and it is a creature.
Everybody.
And it responds to you. Everybody laughs and points at me.
Ah!
All right. Bern, are you okay? What the? Who did this? Like you would know, but who did this? Who's responsible for this? Looks at everybody with its many arms and many heads. It wasn't us.
Not us. I don't know, Kayla. I feel blood rush to my face as I blush. I'm completely humiliated by the silly prank that someone has pulled on me. Whoever did this has gone way too far. I mean, honestly, again, like most pranks, the reason why I don't like them is because I feel like for the most part, most of them always go too far because you don't know the people you're pranking on, typically. Where they just go, yeah, you're just going to prank on my friend, or there's a person over there and I think they're uptight and they need to have that happen to them. They need to loosen up.
You never know what people's sensitivities are or what will seem like something very serious to them.
Right.
Like some of the pranks that I have seen on TV, just in passing, because I don't watch them, but sometimes they're playing in public venues. I don't know why that's a thing, but I feel like been in restaurants or whatever, or they're just in public areas where what they have on TV is basically a
Here's
montage
my
of
humiliation
pranks.
channel.
Pretty much, just a montage of pranks, and you're just going. Some of them are the type of thing that if I would be calling 911. I would be screaming for help. These are the kinds of things where they fake injuries, where they fake, attacks, where they stage muggings, that kind of thing. Being like, those are so.
Tasteless
such dark,
tasteless
subject matter.
Yeah.
Like it seems deeply inappropriate to me.
Yes.
Like,
I honestly.
And again, it can be very traumatic to watch something happen in real life and feel very helpless about it. None of us have a lot of intervention training when bad things happen, let alone, when just things happen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are insulated in our very own little lives. And so when things happen around us, we have very little action to take. We don't know because we haven't ever been prepared for these things. Like we learn stop, drop, and roll and CPR, and that's it.
And hide from the shooter underneath your desk.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
We learned to put our head between our legs.
Right.
It's fine.
It's gone too far. Transition to blacks.
They're gonna do it every chapter, aren't they?
What?
Oh my God.
What's going on? This is the weirdest convention.
Or that's the second prologue, and now we're starting again.
I don't know.
Round 3 prologue. Round
so this
4
is the
prologue.
game over screen, basically. You've died.
You made a poor choice.
Holy cow! Sorry, I apologize. This is a little loud for me.
Wouldn't that be great if this was a you have died screen and then you start over?
And you're like, I have more knowledge. Who's trying to embarrass me? Could it be Cindy?
How did she get in my locker?
Jonathan still in the picture? Or do I have another rival now?
This is the game informing you of these are the important things to think about as the game moves forward.
Uh-huh.
This is your anime episode summary of what to look forward to next time.
Oh.
All of them terrible things. A new jealous bully, your stalker might still be after you, or another
Your stalker slash
rival.
rapist might still also
Sorry,
be
that
after
one,
you.
yes.
Yeah,
I was
like,
to say,
and Cindy.
or do I have another rival? Not Cindy, who's gonna bully
No, we
you
already
because
said-
she's a bully.
Right.
And then, or do I have a new rival? Rival how? You don't have anything
To
to
what?
rive for because you aren't involved with anyone.
And it's also like you're not even involved with Ben, so Cindy feels artificial as well.
Uh-huh.
Like, to me, I'm greatly uncomfortable with still of going like, Ben literally used the same terminology and the same language and many of the same behaviors, I feel like,
That
as
Jonathan
Jonathan very easily, number one, could have used, and number two, really did use.
So what I'm getting here is basically they're going, if you didn't pick up on these themes, here's the themes you're supposed to pick
care
up
about,
on.
yeah.
This is what you're supposed to think about. And you can still take them in different ways of going, I understand that some of these people, like based on reading the comments in the App Store, I feel like there was a lot of people who went, yeah, this person's very self-centered, they're very vapid, they're very, like annoying and one-dimensional.
Because this is all they
because
care
all
about.
she thinks about is, do I have another rival? Is Jonathan still bothering me? Is Cindy doing something mean? Like you could read it different ways.
Yeah, you're
but
right.
I don't feel that
At all.
So we're going to move forward with my friend's good interpretation of this character, and I'm going to support them.
Ah!
And we're going to see what happens in the
I-
next round.
What's going to happen to me next?
And that is a really interesting piece right there where we have said in that one sentence, Byrne has no agency. Things are happening to her.
Yeah, which is really sad.
This
actually.
isn't what's happening in my life. This isn't what's going on around me. This isn't what will happen next. It's what's happening to me next.
Again, I actually really like it. I cannot remember. I believe it's called The Agency of Objects by Infranauts.
Okay.
I will try to look it up.
Okay.
But there is a really interesting video that basically is the agency of objects, right? Where they end up discussing basically characters and going like, do they actually have agency or not? And whether or not you should sympathize with them and what that means. And kind of them sort of pointing out of going like, look, sometimes characters don't have agency, but that's also kind of the point of their character and why people can't be sympathetic to that or more recognizing of how limited they are in that way and how tragic that can be.
Right.
Is actually a really sad thing that like you miss
It's
out
actually,
on.
it was a really cool video, and it has some really cool contrast in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, hold on just a moment. Alright, so while it was loading, we looked it up real quick.
Yes, it's called, title of the video is Protagony 1 Joy, J-O-I, and it's by Innuendo Studios. My apologies to the individual who actually did it. We will definitely be linking to it, but it's a really interesting video, and was actually kind of eye-opening for me.
Excellent. All right.
I wake up feeling fresher than ever, like, I'm in a freshman fantasy, la la.
Ha ha ha. Oh my god.
Ha. Despite having to experience an awful and embarrassing moment at school yesterday. Just a moment. It was only one moment. Just one. It's just a single
It wasn't
moment.
awkward when like a bully came up to me. It wasn't awkward when Ben came up to me, or embarrassing. It wasn't awkward or embarrassing when I sent my friend away like
It sounds
a
like
third
an
wheel.
extreme dissociation of going, the rest of my life has to be okay or it will be okay. It's just that day. I'm going to put that day behind me kind of thing.
Yep, just
is
that
what
one thing is all that happened.
It's okay. Maybe I was exhausted from trying to get rid of the disgusting stench in my hair. I had to wash my hair 5 times yesterday. Okay, so when I was actually younger, I actually got on a bus. No.
Okay.
And actually, so I had a moment of actually being bullied by an older student from a high school. So I was in middle school at the time.
Okay.
And a high schooler got on behind me because it was a shared bus route.
Right.
And the high schooler, for reasons that I will never understand, dumped basically their entire lotion bottle into my hair.
Oh. All right.
And I did not understand why.
Okay.
At all. I literally was just sitting in front of them. So sometimes where I've been bullied in my life, I really don't understand. Some people really do just go, you will look like an interesting target because they are unhappy with their lives. Because I don't know what was going on. As far as I could tell, she was just having a really hard time, and she did. I assume based off of the stereotype that I am used to. But
I think the only just unexpected random bullying I have ever had was literally when I was sitting on a swing by myself in a quiet time at like day camp, which is where my dad put me. It's older kid babysitting, but basically,
Right.
And this other girl walked past me, and I'd never seen her before. I don't think she was even part of the camp. I think she just lived in the neighborhood we were in, and she just stared at me and she just went, "You're ugly," and kept walking. And I was like, okay, what was the point of that kind of thing? Like,
huh?
But
Yeah.
that's the only instance I ever remember.
Right?
And I have to tell you, I was wearing my cute one-piece, like, bad 80s, like, it was a leotard that was all the way down to my ankles and all the way up to my neck, but it had, like, a little crop top over thing on it and a little tiny, like, skirt over thing on it. It was the most ridiculous thing ever.
That sounds wild!
And I felt very cute in it, so there you go.
You're like, no, I'm not ugly, I am adorable.
Kind of.
What? I had to wash my hair 5 times yesterday.
So how long did it take you to get the lotion out of your hair?
Not very long.
Okay.
But it definitely was kind of greasy.
But you had it there all day.
But it was really confused. No, not all day. It was actually the bus to go
bus
home.
Okay, well that's
so
nice.
It was a little wild. And actually my brother came to pick me up, I remember. And my brother was like, what the hell happened to you? And I was like, this girl just randomly dumped lotion on my hair. And then my brother was like, hang on. And he went and he got on the bus and had a conversation with her. I don't know exactly what happened, but it was not like I was divorcing. I was just super confused. And I think I cried because I was just baffled. Like
my
what
life
happened?
Doesn't make sense. Why?
Right?
Okay.
I practically spent my whole evening in the bathroom. Also, the nasty green liquid that looks suspiciously like it came out of a Ghostbusters movie stained my favorite t-shirt permanently.
You know what? It would have been nice if you'd have told it, because I wondered 3 times during that scene, short as it was, if it had a color to it, if it was going to stain anything.
Probably.
And honestly, even if it smells bad, people are often very, very visual. Mentioning the color or that it had one would have been really, really cool.
I would have, actually. Like, whoa.
All right.
Whoever it was, I must find them. I believe it was Jonathan or Cindy, but I don't have enough evidence to accuse them.
Yeah, see, this is a shift, in character of going, we're now going to make you more catty and we're going to make you more direct than you've been the entire time. So they're taking a hard right with this character, it feels like, of going, I'm passive and I'm a pushover and I'm suddenly going to take agency now that a boy likes me.
Right?
But, like a boy that I might ostensibly be possibly interested in.
Right? And also a boy that I think is more valuable. It's interesting to me because Jonathan is acknowledged by the text from other characters and also ourselves of going, Jonathan is meant to be attractive, but you never get to see him, which I think is, again, pretty interesting of going, like, you aren't supposed to like him. Imagine if he actually had his own spray.
And imagine if it was a really nice looking spray.
And he's an abuser, basically, in that way, or he's basically, like, he's a stalker / rapist. That would be fascinating. Now, I'm not saying that you should at all excuse them, again, because someone is attractive. This has been a point of argument that sometimes people have, because there's actually been some people where they talk about it that has been very troubling, where people go, I really identify with serial killers who are real, actual fucking people who mess other people up and they killed them because of other issues.
So there's
the romanticization of serial killers.
There's some discussion on the topic of what one might call cringe, and Natalie Wynn has a great video on it.
Yes.
I was gonna say, but basically there's a piece in there that I liked a whole lot that essentially breaks down that it is the worst possible thing in a society to be embarrassing. And the way I extrapolated it out further in reference to like serial killer fetishization, if you will.
Natalie's video? Or no, it wasn't Natalie's video. That was Maggie Mae Fish.
It was combined with Maggie Mae Fish. It was the 2 of them together and the different feelings on how cringe and embarrassment versus the other one. Anyway, it was also Maggie Mae Fish's video. Sorry, and I drew an extrapolation from both of them, essentially of the idea of going, the worst possible thing you can do in society is be embarrassing.
Right.
Period. Killing people, raping corpses, cannibalism is never as bad as being embarrassing. So no matter what you've done, if you're well put together, you're well comported, you're well spoken, you're attractive, you're clean, people cannot be as unhappy with you as someone who actually has their life completely together but looks embarrassing. Because those are the social rules we live by.
Yes.
And that was something that had been sort of digging at my brain for a while, but I'd never had words for. And what I understand, specifically American society to be, and possibly other parts of the world, is that the worst possible thing you can be, that the class system, the gentrification of everything is embarrassing is what you can is worse than anything.
Yes.
You are a failure of a human being and we want to not associate with you, and you are inappropriate if you are embarrassing, which is really, really unfortunate because everyone is embarrassing sometimes, but it also makes it really, really hard to deal with people who are, if you will, monsters, but don't look embarrassing and don't comport themselves in embarrassing ways.
Yeah, they're actually very dignified, which is why they again talked about like the romanticization of serial killers, because many of them, at least the ones that people seem to become obsessed with,
the really popular ones.
Yep, are the ones that they're like, God, they're just so attractive. They comport themselves really well. They sound fantastic. They have great voices.
So I want to drag this really quick over to a discussion in Disney that we've mentioned a couple of times before when writing their cartoon of Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
So there was arguments over the design of Gaston, and you may have heard this from me in another video video if you watch some of our other series.
Right.
Going, you can't make him attractive, he's the bad guy. And the artist going, who was designing him, going, no, just because you're the bad guy doesn't mean you have to be unattractive. And they worked really hard on his character, and because they're like, he needs to be clear that he is the bad guy, that he is undesirable,
Yeah.
but nonetheless is a hot, skilled, well put together person.
Right.
Because he is clean, he is well decorated, he is fit, he is strong, he is conventionally attractive, he has...
In a very classic sense.
In a very classic sense. I would say it doesn't mean you find him attractive, but those are the markers of a conventionally attractive character. With a strong jawline, you know, the broad shoulders, the dark
Even
hair.
if they're a little bit caricatured, that is totally as intended to be.
And so the thing is then you get this experience of going, he's financially stable, he's very liked in town, he's very capable, he's extremely good at what he does, the various things they extol, even in the Gaston song.
Right.
So, and then you have to go, yeah, but he's completely undesirable because he's a jerk, which is great. But in real life, a lot of people don't do that.
It's true.
So Gaston is an excellent, excellent example of writing someone who is attractive, even though they do characterize it and make it a little bit accessible, that he is a little bit ridiculous.
Right.
They also play off of Belle to make him a little bit more of a buffoon, and then going, but he's clearly an undesirable person.
Right.
They make him embarrassing by putting her narrative first.
Yes.
And the only thing that kills him is that he's embarrassing. So we'll just bring that all around right there. All right.
Okay. But I don't have enough evidence to accuse them. I hope it was one of them. I don't want another nemesis. I don't want more people harassing me. I don't want more people hurting me.
Yes. Fair. Reasonable.
But
desirable.
also, like, again...
this is a public bus.
This is a public bus.
Yeah.
That most kids, actually, as far as I understand, unless you live like in inner cities, maybe, like which I've never lived in. I have to totally own up to. I've mostly been on like school designated buses.
Okay, I was gonna say yes. There are kids who take the city bus to school,
Right.
and there aren't designated school buses everywhere.
Yes,
Which
is where I was
But that's
going.
interesting that, as high class as her lifestyle seems to be, it's interesting that she would take a city bus to school.
Why are we assuming then that high class isn't taking a public transit? Because
I
that is
don't
also
know.
an interesting thing that, like, so based off
Story
of the
tropes.
markers
Probably
that
just
we've
because
had,
of story tropes.
I also want to actually posit cultural tropes too.
Okay.
For you and I, since we both live in the United States and we're used to what it looks like for all of our movies to have somebody who's rich and wealthy,
Yeah.
they tend to have their own limousine, car, whatever it is that takes them to school. Or, you know,
Or they
get
ride
to
the
be,
bus.
Or they get to ride the bus
The
and they go,
designated
I'm
school
the
bus."
normal kid, you know, kind of thing. But I'm like,
I wonder if she normally gets a ride to school when Daddy's home.
ooh, maybe.
And so anyway,
I run to the bus stop. I barely make it onto the school bus.
this is your school bus? This is your designated school bus.
Holy shit.
That's insane.
I need to know whose designated school bus looks like this.
I do. I want to know what school this is for and how many of the kids have to stand.
Also-
and if there's a hierarchy of kids going, it's good or bad to stand. Do the cool kids stand or the cool kids sit?
Wait.
What?
What if this is also indicative of basically the artists?
Okay.
Like in regards to what they think a bus looks like? Because in other countries, so my
You
friend
don't always
actually
have
talked
school
about
buses.
that. Yeah, so in
Okay,
other
okay.
countries.
So
what
one of
happened?
the school experiences I was involved with, you had exchange teachers that were like foreign exchange teachers that were teaching languages, right? Okay.
And the
this
one
was
we're
a-
specifically talking about was from Spain. So this is
Anyway, as I say, and so I was volunteering at this school, and because when you're homeschooled, you volunteer at schools a lot because you're like normal enrichment and things like that. But anyway, so she was from Spain, and there's orientation from many different countries to come work in another country. I've also, like, when I went to visit China, that was one of my friends going to work for a school in China, and I went to visit him.
Right.
Anyway, but that's much more recent than this one. But the thing was, is she talked about at one point when we were just in like downtime, like in the teacher's lounge kind of thing, this experience of going, I didn't expect school buses to be real. In Spain, you don't have regular school buses. You don't have designated school buses.
Right.
What you have is you have city transit or you walk because things are very close together. It's not as sprawling as America, right?
Yep.
And so the thing is she's like, she had seen the movies where there are school buses, and she talked about it. Like one time when we were, like, it was actually on a field trip when she talked about it. I apologize. Where she's like, we're all riding a school bus going to a zoo, right? Very classic school trip, right?
For the U.S. at least.
For the U.S. And the thing is she's like, I didn't think these existed. I thought they were made up for the movies. They seemed so fantastical that it'd be a thing you make up for the movies. The way Americans thought that, boarding schools were made up for
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. And they went, oh my God, that's amazing. And British people are like, yeah, it's a magical one of the regular thing we have.
Right? And they're like, huh? What?
And then we've got the magic school bus it's a made up vehicle, and we're like, no, that's just a magical version of the thing we have. And she was so psyching and geeking out about going, it's a real school bus. I was there the moment she saw a school bus for the first time. It was kind of wild. And she was like, you actually have these. And she mentioned also also ice in refrigerators, and that in Spain you don't have ice on the refrigerator, and you always see in like the dramas on TV and so she's like, you watch soap operas and they're always going to the fridge to get ice, and they're always walking up to the fridge to get ice. All these family movies, you go to the fridge to get ice. She's like, so weird. And then you go to America and there's a fridge with ice on it. It's just like that.
And you go, oh God, I live in a movie now. Yeah.
Anyway,
absolutely.
so this is indicative of, in my opinion, and my friend calling it pretty well, somebody who doesn't have school buses in their experience
Or-
going, this is a school bus.
Again, we are assuming a certain basically level or a certain city that this could be in. I don't know though. So this could be any number of things. Part of my brain, based on the fact that, again, that I know that the Genius games themselves are, so the publisher exists in Japan.
Japan, yes.
So it's possible to me that I think this is basically, this is where they source their art from, is from people who are possibly also Japanese, but that
I
doesn't
would tend
necessarily
to
mean
ask,
anything.
why do you have the schedule up in the front if it's a school bus, though? Like a stop schedule?
That sounds, again, potentially
And
like...
are you organized enough that you get to know everybody else's stops, location, and time for picking up to go to school and leave school?
Isn't that usually
That sounds
really
bizarre.
dangerous in regards to the U.S. for how people go protect the children? Everyone here wants to either rape, murder, or
Anyway, this
take
looks
advantage
very
of
much
kids,
like a public bus, but it looks like an art mismatch, like the kitchen. It really
kinda
does.
does.
It's kind of charming.
All right, well, I hope
Oh.
my hair isn't smelly anymore.
Sorry.
Because in the next one with the school bus, we are going to find out more. So thank you very much for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you would like to support us or like to sponsor us, actually, to play a game, to get our
Absolutely.
opinions about anything, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or our Patreon. We got some links in the description down below. But other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!